welcome to Sportscloud. I'm Bob.
And I'm Amit.
And today we have a really special episode where Amit and I are both going to come up with our own teams. The idea was we each had to put together a team, our dream team, so to speak, of NBA players who were not just active, but really famous for the 1990s. They could have played in the late 80s and the early 2000s, but they were really known as 90s players. However, there's a little asterisk. We cannot pick anybody from the actual 1992 Olympics dream team. Okay, so that means MJ, Scottie Pippen, Charles Barkley off the table, Karl Malone and Stockton, Ewing, David Robinson, Clyde Drexler, Magic Johnson,
Larry Bird.
Larry Bird off the table.
So the rule is that they had to play in the 90s. It doesn't matter. If they got drafted in the 1999 and are famous because of their run in the 2000, it's okay.
It's okay.
But they need to have played like at least one game or being in a team one game in the 90s.
Yeah, and I'm looking at you've already showed me your players, and most of them are really famous in the 90s. Because if you look at the Dream Team, like for instance, Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, they aren't really known as 90 players. They both retired in the 90s.
Yeah.
Whereas like Michael Jordan, he was definitely the 90s player. And of course, David Robinson didn't win the finals until '99. But anyways, so we put together a team, 6 guys. We are including the 6th man. So Amit's going to go first. Or you know what? We can do position by position. All right. So Amit, who did you start to go with your point guard?
Okay, so at my starting point guard, I'm going to have Isaiah Thomas.
Okay, who's that? Just kidding. Why don't you talk a little bit about him?
I mean, not much to say. Jordan literally hated him, and if you have done enough for Jordan to hate you as a player, you need to be really good.
You know what? I know that Jordan didn't like him, but why?
He just thought him and the Pistons were like very dirty and always try to foul him, and they were called the Detroit Bat Boys. So
yeah, with Bill Laimbeer and those other guys.
And he was also a great, absolutely amazing defender, one of the best defensive point guards ever. 2 championship rings. And yeah, his resume speaks for himself. He was really good. The only reason why he wasn't in the Dream Team is because Jordan didn't want him to be in the Dream Team. So they didn't select him to go to Barcelona.
Petty. Okay, so is this shooting? Are we talking shooting guard or
no, point guard?
Point guard, right? Okay. I'm going to go, for my point guard, I'm going to go with a player I actually don't know very much about, but that I know he was good. Tim Hardaway.
Okay.
He had some injuries, I believe, which limited his career, but he was known for the crossover dribble. He was big on that. So that's probably the player on my team I have the least amount of information on. I just know that he wasn't on the Dream, but he was a pretty good player. So not as famous as Isaiah Thomas. I should have gone with Thomas maybe, but Tim Hardaway.
Yeah,
okay?
His son is actually playing in the NBA.
His son?
Yeah, Tim Hardaway Jr.
Oh, well, there you go. Now what about shooting guard?
So at the shooting guard position, I have a player who's famous because of his run with the Lakers in the 2000s. You probably already know who he is, but he did play in the 90s.
I'm just kidding.
His name is Kobe Bryant.
Yes. I wish I would have picked Kobe. Forgot that he played in the late 90s. Okay, very good. I don't think there needs to be any introduction there.
I mean, 1 MVP, 5 championships.
Yeah.
Speaks for himself.
Okay, so my shooting guard never won an NBA Finals, though he did appear in one or two. But I'm going to go with the three-point assassin, Reggie Miller.
Okay, I like it. I really do.
I was reading up on him, and he would have had about 39% accuracy from behind the arc, which isn't as high as maybe some.
But for the time, it was really good.
Yeah, he could hit clutch shots. He hit like 8 points in 8 seconds or something like when they were battling with the Bulls and the Knicks. He was known for hitting some clutch threes. Now, he was never as fast as Kobe was. So I don't know how that would stack up, but I'm going to stand by Reggie Miller and say that he can hit the threes.
I like that pick. I mean, he was trouble for Jordan. He really was.
Yeah, and man, his feuds with Spike Lee.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear small forward.
So I'm going to go with maybe a surprising selection, but a player that I really like, really flashy, great dunker. His name is Dominic Wilkins.
Oh, man, yeah, he played for the Hawks.
Yeah, so...
was he? No, he wasn't on the Dream Team, no.
No,
okay.
He wasn't... He was never good enough to win the MVP because of the era he played at, neither to win a championship because he didn't have a good team at all. People say the Hawks wasted his talent. But he, as a player himself, was really, really good. Could do amazing things inside the paint. He's one. I'd say he's definitely a top 3 dunker of all time.
Okay.
So he was really fun to watch. He won the dunk contest more than once, I think. So yeah, Dominic Wilkins at small forward.
Okay. For me, I'm going to go with a very small forward because he's played small forward, but also I think both guard positions. Grant Hill. Again,
I was between him and Dominic Wilkins.
Were you really? Yeah. Between him and with him and the injury bug, that he could have been better. Had I not gone with those other guards, because he played the guard position, but I thought I would go with him as a small forward. He played with the Pistons, but I think he played with another team for a while. But I think he was out of Duke or maybe North Carolina. I think it was Duke. But yeah, it just never had the support he had, and I think the injuries. So yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Very
nice selection.
Who's going to be your power forward?
At power forward, I'm going to have a player who did play in the 90s again, but is famous because of his run with the Spurs in the 2000. You probably know who he is, Tim Duncan.
Again, I'm a big Spurs fan, or I was. I don't know why I didn't go with Duncan. But yeah, that's and he did play the power forward position. It's not like he was a center, but you're having him play because he would play with Robinson, at least.
Yeah.
Now, when Robinson left, did he become the center? I can't remember.
I think he did. In the run with Tony Parker and Ginobili.
Wait. Hello?
Yeah? Okay. Yeah, so he switched to the center position, I think, when David Robinson left.
Okay.
He won those 5 championships. Was Ginobili, Tony Parker, David Robinson, great mid-range, good rebounder, nice finisher, really complete and good player. I think this is the undisputable best power forward of all time.
Well, I'm going to go with, I I've decided to go with a player for my power forward who didn't actually play the position. I think I'm moving him. I'm going with Hakeem Olajuwon.
Okay.
I'm going to go with him as my power forward. Now he was 6'10", so he's still a big guy. Of course, Duncan was playing power forward and he was 7 foot. So I'm going to go with Hakeem Olajuwon as my power forward. Tall, not thick like some of the David Robinson or Shaq.
Yeah.
But he was quick, and seeing him up against Patrick Ewing and whatnot, he was good. Now, who is your center?
My center is Hakeem Olajuwon.
Okay.
He won 2 championships. You made the introduction for him, so I guess I don't need to say a lot more about him. Pretty complete for the time as a center. For sure. He's my 90s center.
Yeah. All right. So for my center, I'm going with a big man.
Okay.
Who's known probably more for defense than others. Now, I'll let you take a guess or two. I know what you're thinking. Maybe big guy, Shaq. It's not Shaq, and he's not an American. But a 90s player known for his defense and blocking shots.
Horace Grant?
Nope. Dikembe Mutombo.
Oh, yeah. He played for the Nuggets, right?
Yeah, and they upset the number 1 team in the NBA in the first round. They upset the Seattle. Seattle had won 60 games or 60-plus games. And I think Denver lost the first 2, and they came back, and it was just amazing. Now, I don't know about offensively. Mutombo is not going to be as powerful as some of the other players, but I think in terms of clogging up the middle, just playing defense, he's my guy.
Oh, for sure, the best blocker of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't think about him. He didn't pop up.
I was like,
my head.
I don't know why. Neither one of us picked Shaq. I don't know why, but
it's true.
He was a great player, I guess. For me, it seems like he used his size more. Like he played a little rougher than I.
For sure, I don't think he was like that talented, but he knew how to use his weapons and he's the most dominant player of all time.
Yeah, he was humongous. He was thick, and even thicker than Robinson. And the thing is, Robinson had more muscle, or at least Robinson was more cut, like his biceps. But Shaq, he wasn't as cut, but he was just big, and I think the refs did let him get away with a lot. I guess when you're under the paint playing, he didn't have that much skill in terms of shooting. If you look at his foul shots.
Yeah. No.
But yeah, for some reason, another one of us picked Shaq. Okay, now we're going to go with 6th man.
One thing before we go with 6th man, I was going to pick Kareem Abdul-Jabbar because to me he's the best center of all time. But he retired 1 year before the 1990s. He retired in the 89, so we couldn't pick him. Okay, so at my 6th man, I'm going to have again a player. He's famous for his run with the Mavericks at the 2000. Dirk Nowitzki. One of the first big man, because he was big, even though he was a power forward, he was big to shoot threes and to shoot well.
Yeah. Man, you have some big guys on your team.
Yeah. To me, he was he was complete, He could rebound, he could shoot. And he is, to me, his clutchness is very underrated, and his spirit to fight. He beat the LeBron's Heat team with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh pretty much by himself with the Mavs. He was carrying that team. He was so loyal. and I think the spirit he would bring to my team. Plus, he's a great player. Would be really
Yeah.
good. Only
My Go
weakness
ahead.
I'd say is his defense. He wasn't a very good defender, but great player. What's
Yeah.
yours? I want to know.
Well, the thing is, he's not as famous, and I would say not as good. He was actually a sixth man. He was a sixth man, but he won the Sixth Man of the Year award. I'll give you a hint, though. He's also German, but
Okay.
this is even like early '90s. So I don't know if you're gonna. He played for the Sonics.
Ooh,
I
I,
don't know.
I highly doubt I know him.
Detlef Shrimp.
I don't know who he is.
He was in the All Stars one year. I could have gone with a more famous, maybe a better player, but he is. Let's see. He coached for 2 years. He was a small forward, power forward. My goodness, he must be tall. Yeah, he's 2.08 meters. But yeah, it made sense that I don't know. He was a great sixth man, and here he is. So, all right, that's my sixth man. Um, yeah, interesting. I think your team has a little bit more talent overall.
Yeah, but
Uh,
this was more of the made by the players we like, not by
yeah,
talent or winning. So I think you had a more interesting list. Mine was a little bit more obvious. I went with some flashy selections like Dominic Wilkins and
yeah,
that, but overall, pretty, uh, just going with the best out there.
yeah. And you know what's funny about Detlef Shrimp? He was actually in Parks and Recreation a couple episodes, playing himself.
Oh,
Uh, he was in a TV show, so it's kind of funny. Cool. Well, everybody, we hoped that you liked this episode of Sports Cloud. We thought we would do something a little different, and so yeah. If you leave any comments, if you think we were totally wrong with our picks,
go ahead.
my voice cracked. No, but
Comment your
uh,
your lineup.
do what?
Uh,
Oh yeah. Tell us, people. Tell us who your lineup would be now that you know the rules, and you can use some of the players we used, but you can make changes, and yeah, just let us know. But it's been a fun episode, and we hope all is well. Thanks for joining us.
all right, bye.